Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the things we did not get to during the course of the show today. We kind of, if you've already listened to the regular podcast, kind of talked about my friend Gabe's funeral that I went to yesterday. This is something I didn't talk about on the air that I realized. I was talking to Michael Tate from DC Talk and the Newsboys now. And so he knew Gabe when Gabe was like 10 years old. Like, Gabe went out on the road with them at 10 years old. They hired like 2 background dancer kids. And I guess the other kid dances with Michael Jackson now or something. Or what?
No,
well, not now. Right, but was with Michael Jackson. And so I'm talking to him, and it was like, yeah, it was our job to kind of watch these 2 kids, and we didn't do the best job of it. But like Gabe, like he loved it. I mean, what a great opportunity. So Michael pulls out his phone, and Michael is showing me all of these pictures of Gabe and Toby and himself from back in the DC Talk days, and they're really great. And we were talking and laughing, and then I looked down in horror because I think I have spit on his phone. And we're talking, yeah, and I see the 2 droplets, but then I don't know.
You are Salivic.
I know, that's the thing. I'm very Salivic, but I know he is as well. And so it's one of the 2 of us has spat on his phone, and I part of me was like, oh, I wanted to swipe up and like go, oh, let me look at that picture
and wipe it off.
But then I'm like, if it's his, I don't want to do that. And so I did the right thing, and I just pretended I didn't see it, and so now it's in his pocket.
And now he has to Clorox it and decontaminate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could have been his, though.
I know, that's the thing. It could have been his. He's a spitter. So am I. So I don't know, but
this is coming from the guy who was running the show and then got mad at the touchscreen computer in front of him, and he was like, "This thing is malfunctioning!" And then come to find out, he had just spit on it, and the water droplets had made the touchscreen go off.
Our poor engineers at the time, because the thing kept firing. It was a touchscreen. It kept firing things on it like randomly. And our engineers couldn't figure it out. They put a static mat beneath my feet for me to step on because they thought it was somehow static related. And then there was some other solution. And then when they realized I was just spitting on the screen, they had actually talked about putting like a salad guard over it, like a sneeze guard at a buffet.
Problems don't think you need to be ready to solve. Like they train and they get all this education and they know so many more things than we do about this world and tech. And then they're having to deal with spit.
No one thought that was the thing. Now, I don't know why it hasn't happened in multiple years. Like, this was back before.
Yeah,
I think we even had. No, this was years ago. This is back in the Total Access days. So this is before we changed the studio configuration.
You used to be more Salivic.
Yeah, I don't know. Was I more Salivic than I am now? Did technology change and now water droplets? But if you look at this screen, there's no spit on it. I've been talking, and maybe too because it's off to the side.
But if
that's
you
probably
felt
it.
the mic guard, it would be
by
sopping wet.
the end of the show, if you touch my mic guard, it's
it
a little moist. Yeah, yeah, and I know I hate that word too.
Ew.
Yeah, my mic guard is definitely because I get right up on the mic. I eat the mic, and I probably talk the most, and
the loudest,
yeah, and the wettest.
Yeah, that reminds me too. So Wally went through a little spurt of
growth.
Energy, and he came in here and he was dancing out of breath, of course. And
as he does.
Yeah, as he does. And I was like, and I mean, he's standing right beside me, and I asked him a simple question like, "Oh, are you going to be doing this?" And I'm probably speaking at that tone, and he comes back at me like, "I don't know, maybe I should. I don't know."
And this is
like,
no coffee either.
I'm like, why are you screaming?
I don't know. I'm in a good mood, like, so that helps. I'm coming off of a week of heavy.
Yeah, you're on the other side of a lot.
Because I was talking about this with a friend of mine, and I think it might have been you, Betty. We were talking about was it you? I don't remember. Anyway, you stop me if I did.
Stop.
Yeah, you don't even care. No, I was talking about how I see things like with death very much like when there's an end point where something closes that chapter, I quickly move forward. I don't linger in it, okay? For example, when my father passed away, I hated it. It was horrible. I hated going through it. I hated being there and seeing him the way he was, and because of how I used to picture him as when I was younger. He had a really bad death, from his disease. And it was sad. It was heavy. Mm-hmm. And there was joy inside of it. There was times we laughed. I'm so glad that I'm thankful to this day that I got to really tell him a few days before he died, like everything that was on my heart, and I got to share with him and thank him. Love that. But inside of that, I lost my train of thought. Where was it? Oh, but like for me, his service was postponed like a month. And then when we finally had I kind of had to live in it. And then when we finally had the service, that was the door being closed. Like, not that I forget him, not that I don't ever think about him, but that was the closing point for me. And now I move forward full force. Whereas my wife, she lost her mom 18 years ago, lost her dad 5 years ago, I think, lost her brother a week ago. And so she carries all of that still. And like it affects her deeply still. Whereas for me, when there's that close, I'm moving forward, and I'm not going to live in this, and I'm not going to be sad. There'll be moments of that here and there, but I don't carry it. And maybe I don't. I think everybody's different. I think everybody's wired differently. And
I don't think it means you're like a cold human being.
No, I'm
for
not
feeling those things heavily. But I think you getting it out of your system.
Yeah.
Because I think there's time to be like feel it heavy and feel it light, and I think that you do a good job of balancing that.
Yeah, I'm settled with Gabe after the service. Like, I'm settled. I know that his wife isn't, his family isn't, and I will be there for them 100%. But like for me, anytime I think of Gabe from here on out, it won't be in sadness. It won't be in the context of the funeral. It will be, oh my gosh, that guy made me laugh. Like when I think of my dad, I think of all the things he taught me. There's so many times like I'll fix something at my house, and I just kind of think to myself, like, man, I'm so glad that he taught me this stuff so that I can do it. But I don't live in it.
Why would you say, because you mentioned earlier that Marty, your wife, said you cried more at Gabe's funeral than you did your dad's. Why would you say that is?
Because the services were different. Like my dad's, I had to speak at my dad's, like on the stage, and my mom and my sister both got up and were rock stars. They shared the stories. My mom, like, just stiff up her lip, like, didn't cry, just killed it. I get up there, I'm like, what? And I start crying. I'm crying right out of the gate. And I'm like, well, you see where all the strength in our family comes from. It's the women's side. And so I cry, and I get through it, and I cried another time, like, in it. But it was a different service. Like with Gabe, they had, I think, 5 or 6 speakers. Like each of them did something about Gabe, and every one of them had something funny and something just rip your chest out, And so, and because you could see him, and they've got like the pictures of him all over. It's really well done. And so this is a group of people too that put on shows for a living. Like his funeral was produced. Amanda, Toby Mac's wife, like basically designed this whole thing. And all of Toby's guys that do the shows are on headset mics, and they are running this like a show to honor Gabe. That's what he did. It's not cold. It's not like it's not for the sake of show, but this is who he was. And so they did that. And it's designed to evoke emotion. That's what they do, every night at a concert. When those lights go down and the music starts at church, it's there to bring you into a place where you'll feel something.
Well, you said that CeCe Winans, Chris Tomlin, Matt Maher, some other people, Ryan Stevenson.
Yeah.
I know what Ryan Stevenson sang, I Am the Storm. But what songs did the other artists sing?
There was they did worship songs together, which were great. CeCe's song, I thought she was going to do Believe for it, but she did a song I didn't know. But boy, howdy. The girl that sings with Toby now, Tarian. I always say Tarian.
She's good.
Oh, glory, she's good. That girl, she sang something a cappella and crushed it.
Yeah, she released an album a couple years ago.
Yes, and it should have done better than it did.
And I think she'll have her time, though.
Yeah,
she's
do
really
too.
talented.
Like when you hear her and you watch her sing, she's just really crisp. Her tone is perfect. She's great. But there is a difference, though, because then CeCe gets up and sings. CeCe is just, and I'm not a gospel person at all. CeCe is just power. and control and maturity.
And she's been doing it for so long.
Yes, and it was so good. And so I looked at Cece, though, and I see Tyrion, and I go, Tyrion can definitely grow to that. But Tyrion's already phenomenal now. What she could be with some life under her and some experience, it would be amazing.
And it's I feel like, because that is sort of a byproduct of people who like are in, diversity, let's say. And like a lot of them do go out. There aren't a million that get super big.
No, like Sean Locke
surprises me.
Yeah, well, Sean Locke was.
I love Sean Locke.
Yeah, and he left and didn't really do anything after that. Nerva didn't really. Her stuff didn't go. And Nerva's a great singer. She's amazing. Toddy Funk tried to do some stuff and it never really landed. Even Gabe and Dave Wyatt, their music director, they formed a side project called Arch Nemesis. And look in the system and find me Baby Boy, please. It's there. Just look up Baby Boy or Arch Nemesis. And so they did a side project, but it never really went. Gabe and Dave had a writing deal where they were writing songs for other people. But this was one of my favorite things that they ever did. And I think it's about Gabe's brother, Marcel. This is the funniest thing. Poor Marcel. Gabe was the angel of the family. Marcel was the black sheep. And,
who was the oldest?
Gabe. So Marcel's the younger brother, but Marcel had a troubled past. And his mom referenced it. Some older white guy that's known them for 25 years does the thing, and he's like, Gabe was always on the path. He was great. And then there's Marcel. and they're all telling stories about Marcel, which Marcel, he's turned his life around, but you have to be thinking he was like, wait, what?
Was he laughing a little?
Yeah, he was fine. He was fine. But it felt like there was moments it felt like a roast on Marcel.
Yeah, jeez.
But this was Gabe and one of my favorite songs from him.
Baby boy, turn around, little child. Hey, why don't you turn around, baby boy, and let's talk for a while.
Loved his voice. Gosh, I loved his voice. now I'm going to start going, dadgummit. See, it does come back. Like, I remember, like, just hugging his mom and go, man, I loved your son. Like, he was so good.
How did she do through the whole thing?
She's a rock star, man. She's one of the toughest women you'll ever meet. And nice, but like she talked about Gabe and Marcel, but she, shared some great stories of him, and she obviously got emotional and stuff. And then it's really hard. Funerals are hard in the sense that I always feel bad for the family because everybody wants to love on them. But then all they do is they stand in a line and people just come up and tell you all this stuff. Just everyone. So you just stop crying, then somebody else comes up to you and shares a story of how much they meant to them.
It's tough.
And you cry again and you cry again. Pretty soon you're just exhausted, When my daughter's best friend died at 21, going up and seeing her mom and dad, I just felt so bad. I'm like, I am so sorry you have to deal with all of this today. And I don't want to add to it, but oh my gosh, I'm going to move quickly, and so like, it's hard. I mean, I don't know. That's why like my brother-in-law's funeral, very different. He wasn't like a godly man. He was a believer, but he wasn't a godly man, like Gabe was. And so this had God all through it. Not an altar call, but an invitation in it from this pastor that was friends with him named Sammy, who was phenomenal. But like Chester's was more like a hangout. There were some videos playing, like pictures playing and stuff. No one spoke. Everyone came and kind of milled about and talked, and Marty even commented, she's like, yeah, you didn't even really cry at my brother's thing. I said, it wasn't sad as much because it was almost like people just getting together and being like, yeah, that was cool, man. Chetty was a good guy, and so it didn't have that emotion. And I was trying to tell my daughter too, I said, you've been to both, of these things, and you see the difference in these. That's the difference that God makes in somebody's life when they are living it out every day. Look at this room. Probably 500 people there, and all of them had a story about how Gabe impacted their lives, And I'm like, that's the takeaway for you and for me is that we want this many people at our funeral because we touched their lives, we mattered to them, we meant something, we were in their lives and intentional, and I think with Gabe, like the best part of him is he made everybody feel like they were like the star, and that's what he did with Toby, and that's what he did with everybody else. He elevated. He was
a good hype man for anybody.
He was so good at it, and I remember we did hype man bits with him before and stuff. Anyway, so it was a. I'm glad I went. I'm so glad I went. I didn't want to go, obviously. I hated the reason we had to be there, but it was really, really, really good.
And I'm sure potties are wondering how your part went.
My part was flawless. I had written some notes down right beforehand. It was pretty crazy though, because so I get there and they say, okay, we're gonna do fireworks. Gabe loved Disney, so the idea was we're gonna count down some fireworks. So that's what they asked me to do. I said, not a problem, easy. But then I get there and the lady that was running it, she goes, hey, we're not gonna do that. She's like, I want you to share a story about Gabe and quickly tell what he meant to you, and then do a thing about Disney, whatever you want to do, and then go to the fireworks. So I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm going to get upset,
Well, and now you got to write something, and you weren't even prepared.
I know. So I'm like writing some notes down, and I'm obviously thrilled and happy to do it, but I don't want to break up and cry.
Right.
What happened was so good though, because we're out there. This part took place outside because you don't do fireworks inside. So we're outside. There is Disney music playing, Disney balloons, and kids running around. So it is completely the opposite of how sad and dark and emotional the inside was. And so I'm thankful. I just got to tell about what he meant to me and how he made me laugh and how he loved Disney. And then so I was able to knock my part out, and then here's some fireworks, So it was good for me. And so fortunately it worked, and I didn't mess it up.
Could you see the fireworks even though it was
They were daytime fireworks.
There's a difference?
Is there such a thing?
There is such a thing,
No way.
Yeah, there is. They have more smoke with them and stuff, and they're like some smoke things that go off. But yeah, you could see them. It wasn't like the big like going to Disney and seeing it. But I think it was just they wanted to honor him in that way.
Was there a line and he was the best man ever? Point to the sky, fireworks go off, or they're like, and to conclude this, we shall send off fireworks.
Yeah, the timing with fireworks is never perfect.
No.
So, I've done so many fireworks shows over the years where we were trying to syncopate them exactly to the radio station, and it never works out perfectly. So there's a guy, Heath, Toby's a monitor guy. He's on a phone with the guys who were at the fireworks way down there. And so I'm like, you know what? And there's no more fitting way to send Gabe off than with something that he loved from Disney. And so look to the left, and this is what Gabe loved.
And then everybody looks over,
and
there's
like,
nothing happening.
Yeah, you're a liar. I look to the left. I'm never trusting you again. Nothing is happening. And I hear Heath going, go for fireworks. Go for fireworks. Fireworks go. Fireworks are a go. Let's go. Hit the fireworks. Someone hit the button.
Yeah, why does it take? Why is
I don't know.
It's a risky choice.
Yeah.
It's like a Zoom call.
Yeah.
You're waiting.
Yeah. They should have. In retrospect, it should have been I should have given them a phrase I was going to say and then say a little bit more so it would time out better. And we all know how much Gabe loved Disney. Wink, wink. And then say a little bit more and then look at that. Boom. It would have timed out better. So.
What are you going to do?
It is funny, having notes on production on a funeral, because Gabe sang the second verse of Ryan Stevenson's song "Eye of the Storm." So Ryan Stevenson is there and he does the song, and I thought, and it's so funny. I've trained my daughter in production because she goes, "Can I just say something?" I'm like, about the production. I go, "Yes, please, love." She goes, "Don't you think they should have had Gabe's voice doing this?" I'm like, yes, I thought the same thing. Because you can sync all this stuff up. They should have played to a click track and synced it so that Gabe's voice was on the second. Then they could have synced it to video of him at the GMA Awards doing that.
You're critiquing his funeral.
I am.
Do you hear yourself?
It was such a good, but it was for him. It was such a good opportunity to crush it, to hear his voice, that soulful voice there.
He's got a great voice, but maybe it was
a good moment.
Maybe Ryan Stevenson was thrown in last minute, you were kind of.
I doubt it.
Well, I don't know.
He had in-ears. They cued him in.
Oh, well, I don't know. Anyways, I'm glad that you went, and I know that you're glad you went.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure it meant a lot to people that saw you there.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that it wasn't just meant to be sad per se.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
a celebration.
I think
of
that
life.
because you're talking about having that moment of let's say close the door on the emotion, and I feel like that is a healthy way to close the door on. Hey, we've done this. And now we can celebrate because it was an awesome guy.
Quick question, and I want you to be honest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Honest, truthful.
Honest, truthful.
Did Marty, because I know she's a huge fan of Disney.
Yes.
Did she walk away with anything from there? Like she took something?
Why do you ask? Do you know something? Do you know something?
She did?
Do you know something?
No, I just know that she's a huge Disney fan. And if they have Disney balloons out there or some kind of like confetti, it seems like she would want to take something.
Or did she instruct you on how to handle her?
This woman has picked up little confetti off of the floor at Disney events. Yeah. Like
That's so funny.
She has one in her wallet. It's a little Mickey head confetti piece from, I think, the Frozen show or something. Okay, so they had on Main Street, when you go down Main Street, they've got the Disney balloons, and it's one big clear balloon and then the Mickey ear balloon in it. The Mickey ear balloon is her favorite thing. I bought her ears she wears when she goes to Disney, and it has the Mickey balloons on it. It's her favorite thing. So they weren't giving them out at first. They were just holding them, and then somebody was like, no, you need to give these out to people, like the kids. And so Marty somehow procures a balloon.
She got your daughter to go over there. I'm only 12 years old.
Haley looks young. So Marty has a balloon, and she is so excited about this balloon. Okay,
wow.
So she's carrying the balloon, and at one point in time, she goes, "I don't know if a kid's gonna want this," and she pulls it down and is holding it like in front of her.
Oh my god!
It was so funny. Oh my gosh, I'm dying. So we go and we get in the car, and she's so afraid of this balloon flying away. She lashes it to a water bottle. Okay, and that's enough. Right
that's
there.
Enough.
That is
That'll
plenty.
weigh it down.
Plenty. You've done your due diligence. I am not lying about this. When I tell you this, I am not lying. We got to go to dinner, and we're getting out to go to dinner. We're all getting out of the car. She goes, okay, everyone gets out of the car, one person at a time, so that the balloon would not blow away accidentally. So I got out, then Haley got out, then Marty got out, and when she was getting out, though, I went and I opened another door, and she's like, What is wrong with you? She like panicked. Oh,
what is she gonna do with it? Just have it there in the house?
Is it in the house right now?
You are asking all the right questions today, Rock.
It's like you went.
Yeah, it really is. It feels like you're setting me up. It feels like I'm on Jimmy Fallon with a comedian, and they're like, okay, I'm going to set you up for your shtick here. Because she has the balloon. Okay. We had a long debate. Haley knows how to deflate them because she works at Disney, so that it keeps the balloons intact, and you could theoretically re-blow them up or whatever. So my wife could not get her head around the fact that the bigger outside balloon is not elastic. It's like Mylar. It will not shrink. The inside balloon will shrink. So she wanted the whole thing. She thought the whole thing would shrink down because she wants to keep it in her Bible not as a member of Disney, as a remembrance of Gabe. Oh. Okay? Yeah. Okay. I know. Good. That's fair. That's fair, though. That's very fair.
I'm listening.
You're shocked. Your skepticism is fair. And so my daughter is trying to explain to her that the balloon was bigger than two people's heads.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain to her, it won't shrink, lady. She's like, well, I'll fold it then. I'm like, you're gonna fold it and stick it in your Bible. Like it's gonna be this. You'd have to fold it 4 times to get it in there. And so I think we finally settled in on we'll get rid of the outer balloon and just keep the little one that's shriveled up, and you can put that in there to remember Gabe.
And that's her Gabe memory.
Yeah. So that was my day. But oh gosh, when she dropped, okay, we're each getting out of the car one person at a time.
Also,
I about lost my
that
mind.
she claimed at the end of all this, I'm doing this because I want to remember Gabe.
Yeah.
What if there was a child there that wanted to remember Gabe, and she's over there hiding one of the
Tough
Mickey
luck,
balloons?
kid.
She didn't think
you
the kid
tell
would
me
want
it's just for Gabe. I don't believe
she loves that. She loves those Mickey balloons.
She does.
Who likes Disney
Did she
more?
even
Gabe
pick out her
or
color, or did she just take the one that they handed her?
She was just happy to get one. Yeah. And then this one didn't say Disney on it, though, and some of the other ones do. I think she was a little sad.
Oh, my God.
I wouldn't have put it past her to switch with another kid. You like red, don't you? Wouldn't you like red better than the blue one with the logo?
Yeah, like there's an usher that's handing out the balloons to all the kids, and she just sneaks in. He's like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, but I want one that says Disney. Not that one. Oh, no thanks.
Oh, it was a day.
Interesting.
It was a day. Yeah. I'm not going to do my story.
Me neither.
Okay, you good?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to take up 24 minutes talking about that, but it was a cool thing, and I think there's some funny stuff in there. So hopefully no one's too mad.
I'm angry.
Yeah, you almost said
raging.
Yeah, I got you. I saw your face. Do you got any birthdays?
Oh, no.
Oh, well, that was easy.
That's good.
All right. Well, then that's going to wrap this thing up, and we thank you as always for being a potty.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.